Hello, I'm Dr. Scott Wadier.
And I'm Tommy Welling, and you're listening to the Fasting for Life podcast.
This podcast is about using fasting as a tool to regain your health, achieve ultimate wellness, and live the life you truly deserve.
Each episode is a short conversation on a single topic with immediate actionable steps. We cover everything from fat loss and health and wellness to the science of lifestyle design.
We started Fasting for Life because of how fasting has transformed our lives, and we hope to share the tools that we have learned along the way. Hey everyone, and welcome to the Fasting for Life podcast. My name is Dr. Scott, and I am here as always with my good friend and colleague, Tommy Welling. Good afternoon to you, sir.
Hey, Scott, how's it going?
It's great, man. It's Tuesday afternoon, so we're not recording at night. So it's a little different vibe. It's bright in my room. I'm loving it. Energy's high. I'm still fasting, feeling amazing. How about yourself?
Yeah, came off some good sleep after last week's episode, took some pointers and put them to action. So that's good. Energy's good, ready to rock and roll. What are we talking about?
Yeah, we got a whole bunch of stuff to go over today. As if we didn't just review this before we hopped on the podcast. Yeah, I know. So to recap what we did last episode, if you guys have not gone and listened, we've gotten some really good feedback on sleep and its importance in insulin resistance and the insulin cycle. We've got some awesome resources that we've put together too that kind of explain that process that we're going to be dropping here in the near future. But just, a lot of great feedback. Tommy, did you hear anything specific from anyone?
As far as sleep goes?
Yeah, the last week's episode, I remember we were talking about it. I just couldn't remember specifics.
Yeah, I mean, just got a few pieces of feedback. Some people who were just finding some slowdowns whenever they weren't getting good sleep, and put a couple things into action, and seemed to kind of get the ball rolling, keep their momentum going a little bit better. So that was good.
Held me accountable, to be completely transparent, as I realized that I needed to do a little bit better with the whole blue light thing. So if you want to hear more, go jump back in. So that was last week's episode 7. Today is episode 8, and what we're going to be doing today is talking about simplification. And we just came off an amazing 7-day challenge with a group of 35 people. And we'll give some updates on that too as we kind of transition into the next phase of what we're going to be doing here. But today we're going to simplify, and we're going to talk about exercise and insulin sensitivity, how to actually get the best results while keeping it simple. And then we'll, in that conversation, we'll talk a little bit about those wonderful fitness trackers, MyFitnessPals, tracking your calories, adding back in the calories you so-called burn during a workout, the 10,000 steps obsession, which actually I couldn't find well-documented research to back that up. So we'll talk about that myth and really where that came from. And then we're just kind of conversating today, and this is the last thing that we'll go over and for today's kind of rundown of what we're going to do is we want to continue the conversation. And we realized when we were in the challenge that we had a lot of great feedback and back and forth. So an idea we came up with was when you guys go and rate our podcast. So we request 5-star reviews because we believe that that's what we should be getting. So please leave us a 5-star review. And when you do that, drop a question in there, and we'll be sure to kind of gather those up, and we'll be able to answer those questions in the episodes to come. So we want to continue that conversation in that way.
Yeah, we read every piece of feedback, and we've already gotten a few notes on that and taken some good action with them. The latest one being to include some citation notes whenever we talk about research articles. So we're doing that in the notes. And so thank you for that feedback. So whatever questions you guys have, leave them in those reviews, and we will address those on the next episode.
Yeah, I'm super excited for that because, we do now have the page, and we had the closed group, and we've got our email and the website, but the podcast is one of our main things that we focus on week to week. So having those questions there will definitely keep us accountable too. And then we'll make sure we're delivering content that you guys want to hear, because there's so many different avenues you can go with fasting. But, really we want to break it down into those 4 mantras that we had from the get-go. which was having the right mindset, having the right motivation to start fasting and the good reasons why. But then, learn the method. And we, under the method, we talk about simplification and regaining control in the actual mastery of it. So, we're going to keep going and framing it in that light, through that lens of getting that simplification and control back into your hands as we experienced in 2019. And then we saw just amazing changes in the group just in 7 days. So,
yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be great. So drop the questions, drop the 5-star review, and then we'll get those to you. So, all right, Tommy, give me an update, because I know that you and I spent a lot of time on these wonderful screen sharing devices where we put out a lot of training and a lot of resources and hours of content during that group fasting, the 7-day 2020 vision fasting challenge.
Mm-hmm.
So I know you have a pretty awesome update here.
You're talking about for me personally, or people in the challenge? Okay, me.
No, we're not talking about anybody but you right now.
Okay, all right. Just making sure. So for me, I'm at a new personal low. So I beat my old low by about 0.4 pounds. So I'd been maintaining for a while, and then was waiting for the challenge to kind of get going on the next down leg for myself. I probably have about 25 pounds that I'd like to lose here in the next probably couple of months. And the momentum really got going with the challenge. So I did a 96-hour fast approximately, and then had date night, and then did another 72-hour fast after that. So hit my low, beat it, and got some good momentum going. So and then I posted in the challenge this week's plan too, which was basically a couple of approximately 72s with a date night in there, and then a free space, which has already been taken up by a home project where we're inviting some family over. So good to have a little bit of flexibility in there too.
So your total goal then must be upwards of 60, because you've lost and been able to maintain 40 pounds so far, right?
Yeah. So I'm at
That's
about
awesome.
46 pounds lost at this point.
That's fantastic. Yeah, I'm not good with quick math like that, but yeah, that's amazing, man. So great. And that's a really good jumping off point into talking about your schedule and really what we want to get in today, which is a simplification of this entire process. Like busy, you have 2 kids, I have 2 kids, you have a business, I have a business, we have family obligations and things we like to do, and it's dogs and responsibilities around the home. There's always something that can pull you out. So having the simplification and the control is huge. And one of the things that we were talking about was this concept of exercise. And my wife is one of the people. So Megan, when you listen to this, I do love you. And we are just, don't laugh. We are just this is going to be good. You're already laughing. This is going to be really good, because we are very different people in that she is someone that does really great with like super levels of tracking and measuring and weighing and timelines, and she can maintain that for long periods of time with a lot of success. Now, she also doesn't have insulin resistance working against her. She's a healthy young 30 mom of 2 who's always been into an active lifestyle, playing sports, running marathons, that kind of thing. But she can really stick with that. And for me, I've whenever I did these 6 to 12 week, 90-day, 6-month, outlines and programs that I was trying to do, I was never able to get the results. I would always get worse, or I wouldn't feel good, or the scale would start to creep up at the end of those 6 months. So, so she's just able to really crush it when it comes to, keeping track and just being really, I don't want to say obsessive about it, because it's not, but just really well on point, dotting the I's and crossing the T's. And for me, that just doesn't work. So the MyFitnessPal thing is, one of the things when we used to do our Saturday morning long workouts, we'd work out in the garage together for an hour and a half. And we do, 1,000 meter row intervals in between, 30 reps of 5 to 10 different exercises. Then she'd go out and run a 400 meter while I rode a 500 meter. And so we did these crazy long workouts. But one of the misconceptions out there is that when you work out, you're burning more calories. And the fitness trackers that come along with those, which we're going to talk about a few times today, drastically overestimate the amount of calories burned. So you're making a huge mistake if you're calorie counting, which we don't recommend. We recommend tracking, but if you're trying to do the whole calories in versus calorie out, move more to burn more, and eat less and restrict, by adding those calories back in, like MyFitnessPal will sometimes have you do, you're really just missing the mark totally. So it was pretty eye-opening when I was looking at some of the research.
Yeah. Did you see any percentages as far as those overestimations go?
I don't recall. What were they?
I've seen some numbers as high as 40 to 50% for those. Yeah, because they don't test for all different levels of activity. So they're looking at certain activities under certain circumstances, and then doing a broad generality across all body types, male versus female, all weights. And they have a hard time differentiating between different activity levels. And then even if you're in the gym and you say, okay, well, I was doing a hard resistance workout for the last 45 minutes. Well, you can put that into those tools, but what does that mean? How much time did you spend on the phone? How much time were you doing, 20 reps versus doing 1 rep maxes, or switching machines, switching gears, waiting for other people to work in, all that kind of stuff. It can't be taken into account. So you can have huge variability. But then at the end of the day, you look at your tracker and then you just see, oh, there's a minus 600 for my workout. That's 600 extra calories. Maybe I will go have that splurge meal or whatever it may be, or think that you're on track to lose twice as much this week as you did last week, and then ultimately get discouraged by the results that you were planning for.
Wow, that's powerful. I didn't realize those percentages were so high. And there's so many of these fitness trackers out there too. And now there's ones that are measuring sleep and recovery and basing it off of heart rate variability and all these different types of things. So we'd caution you to use it for calorie output based on, the numbers that Tommy just gave. And again, thinking through the lens of simplification. So if you want to move for the overall benefit of health, a lot of people will look at that 10,000 step mark. And if you're going to use one of these fitness trackers, more use it in the idea that, making sure you're getting a good workout. So if you're looking to do a high intensity workout, then yeah, use it. And if you do a high intensity workout one day and it's the same workout on the following day, you can use that feedback to be like, okay, well, one day I burned 300 supposed, and the next day I burned 450 or 700. You're like, okay, well, wait a minute, there's a big disparity there. So did I put as much intensity into the workout? Now, that's more for the advanced type person. So when it comes to the trackers, just don't take that calorie number and then plug it into your MyFitnessPal. And the reason we're talking about this stuff is because a lot of people have these darn things. They're everywhere. And then if you get into the, this is kind of the more active level type individual. If we look at the older demographics, they tend to look at the Fitbit trackers. And I don't even know if Fitbit's one of them, so I apologize if it is, but they have a lot of great benefit, but the idea is to get you moving. But this idea of 10,000 steps, Tommy, did you know where this came from?
No, I've been seeing numbers and they seem to keep rising where it used to be, oh, well, how many, a couple thousand steps. And then I used to see 5,000 as kind of the big mark. And then 10,000 I've seen a few times, and just learning a little bit more about how prevalent that is. And people seem to be latching on to that 10,000, maybe because 10,000 hours, things like that. I don't know.
Yeah. So I didn't know either. And then I Googled it. I'm not saying everything on the internet is real. But this is multiple places, multiple citations. This article I'm looking at from Harvard Health, that I pulled up, it's the Journal of American Internal Medicine, Journal of American Medical Association Internal Medicine did a study looking at this. And what they disclosed in it was that the term, or 10,000 steps came from a device that was made in Japan back in the 1960s. And it was called Mampo Kai or Mampo K. I don't know how to pronounce it, but it literally translates to 10,000 steps meter. So it was really a marketing thing that was implemented that just kind of became urban legend. So now there's been a bunch of studies done, and they do show that, the difference between sedentary, meaning somebody that doesn't do a lot, versus more active people in the later decades of life, there will be some improvement in health metrics and decreased. For instance, 4,400 steps a day in this one study had a 41% reduction in mortality. But mortality is one metric, but I always say this, I don't want to live to 100 if my last 20 years are living in a nursing home not knowing what my name is. So that doesn't take into account the quality of life, medications, relation, all those other things too. So 10,000 steps though, there's not much out there to say that actually is beneficial. I've seen some studies that show 7,500 steps. So it's not the idea of getting 10,000 steps. It's how can we simplify this to get you results to reduce the insulin resistance, which is the problem in our, as we age. Our insulin resistance increases. We have trouble keeping the weight off. The diets don't work anymore. We get frustrated. So really, it's more in the fact of how can you exercise the most efficiently and simply without having to do all of the stuff that we're talking about, right?
Yeah. We don't have to add layers and layers upon complexity to this. And so kind of getting back to the trackers, especially if you're here, you're listening and you're thinking, I have significant weight to lose. I'm significantly insulin resistance. I'm on medications for this stuff, especially. There's really no reason to get obsessed with numbers from a device that's on you that's trying to give you certain data, which it may or may not be doing correctly. But the real pitfall there is getting latched on to that data and then thinking that you're on the right track when really you're not making progress towards where you really want to go, which is your insulin sensitivity and your weight.
Well, yeah, and even thinking more 30,000 or maybe 50,000, however you want to make it relative.
100,000. Let's do
100,000 foot view. Okay, fine. Man, we're really up there. It's cold. So, the whole point of health is, the first four letters is heal. Your body's doing what it should do. It has a balance and a homeostasis component to it. We're trying to get out of the way in today's crazy world with the food supply and the sources and all of the, the healthcare system the way it is, and people that have insulin resistance, and the system doesn't work. It's been shown over and over again to fail. So it's like, okay, how can we get healthier, as we age, and not just accept that, pain and disease is a normal part of aging, which I don't believe, and a lot of people don't believe it is. And the healthcare system kind of shows that also, when it's more of a sick care system than a healthcare system. So how can we create health over the longevity of our lifetime? Well, it's really, getting to the underlying cause of the issues. So how can we remove the most amount of static on the lines? How can we put in the best inputs into our body to give our body the best ability to heal over time? And that's where it comes into insulin is, over a lifetime, we want to keep that as low as possible, because we know that leads to diabetes, which then leads to heart diseases, strokes, and other comorbidities, So
let alone decrease quality of life.
Yeah. So when we're looking at this whole exercise piece, it's keep it simple. And I know there was, a study that was done recently, and this was in the Journal of Physiology in 2019. So a very recent study.
Yeah,
and
exercise physiology, yeah. Yep. The effect of short duration resistance training on insulin sensitivity. This one was interesting because we actually got to solve the problem of the insulin resistance and insulin sensitivity. And what they were looking for was to try to find if could there be an impact, a significant impact in a short amount of time with relatively little input. And so what they did was they took some overweight men and put them into a program for 6 weeks. So 3 times per week for 15 to 20 minutes per session. So not a very long workout, 15, 20-minute workout, 3 times a
Yeah.
week, right?
18
For 6
workouts
weeks.
total, so nothing crazy.
Yeah, and they saw, what they did was they actually put them through 80% of their 1 rep max. So they just had them lift to failure on, I believe it was it
Right.
9 different movements maybe,
Mm-hmm.
and saw up to a 35% increase in insulin sensitivity just over those workouts in that shorter period of time.
So hold on. So wait. You just said a lot of numbers. So
Yeah, sorry.
15 to 20 minutes a day, 3 days a week, 15 to 20 minutes a workout, 3 workouts a week for 6 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
And they did 9 different exercises where, let's say they grabbed a 5-pound weight and they just did bicep curls or banded curls, right? Because a lot of people
Mm-hmm.
work out at home. They have resistance bands, $30 at Walmart. You get a whole pack of them with handles and all this fun stuff, right? So
Mm-hmm.
you're telling me all they did is did the reps until failure for 9 different exercises, and that took 15, 20 minutes a week. I mean,
Yeah,
a workout.
Yeah, they did 80% of their 1 rep max. Okay. So
Well,
they're
I was
doing,
just thinking like simplifying that because people are like, what's a 1 rep
yes.
max? How am I going to get that? So,
Basically it means doing high effort. Okay. So whatever you maximally could do in that exercise, lower it down a little bit and then
okay.
do it until you can't do it anymore.
Okay.
And just 1 set of that for 9 different exercises.
Okay.
And,
So interesting. So
mhm.
simple.
It's extremely simple. It doesn't take a lot of time, and they weren't in there every single day of the week either. This was 3 times a week
Right.
in
So,
only 6 weeks.
yeah, 60 minutes a week. So, and a 35% increase, man, that is amazing. So, it, here is just let's just lay it out there in what you should be doing. Don't worry about the 10,000 steps. If you need that accountability, use it as a guide, but 10,000 isn't any better than 4,400 in that study we talked about today,
Mm-hmm.
because it has to do with intensity. Add in light resistance training. If you're trying to reverse insulin resistance, increase weight loss, energy levels, there's so many different things. It will help with your sleep, but just insulin is the main problem.
Yeah, I haven't
Um,
seen any data that says 10,000 steps or even
right.
4,000 would increase your insulin sensitivity,
Good point.
which is right, which is that's what we want, but I haven't seen that.
Right. So, and I think that might be the take home point here as we're kind of hashing this out, is you're not going to get the added benefit with the steps. I'd rather see you throw the tracker out or donate it and then start doing this simple process of 3 workouts a week, banded resistance training, body weight training. You might
Oh,
be
body
able to
weight training is fantastic.
do squats until you can't squat anymore,
And some
So
push-ups.
yeah, and some push-ups, or knee push-ups, depending on where you
Sure.
start, or wall push-ups. Even we used to do these workouts in our clinic on Saturdays with people.
Mm-hmm.
And then you're going to get so much better of an overall health improvement because you're going to get that insulin for what we're talking about here, which is, you know, diabetes reversal, insulin resistance, increasing insulin sensitivity, which has so many other effects on overall health.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah,
And
that's it.
you're not spending an hour and a half of your day trying to walk those 10,000 steps.
Well, what is 10,000 steps? I bet
It's like 5 miles or so.
5 miles, right?
Yeah, and if you're really just walking, that could take you an hour and a half.
Right. Right. And again, it doesn't show any, that 10,000 mark doesn't really seem to have any real basis in the scientific community. So, yeah, man, that's just amazing. I didn't expect to end up at that point here, Tommy, when we were talking about this today. That's really powerful because, I mean, right there is how do you improve your insulin and improve your fat burning and improve your ability to lose weight and not have to track and not have to add in calories and not have to have all these devices. Now that's what I'm talking about. So
Yeah,
I love it.
And just so you guys know, in that same period of time, that same 6 weeks, there was a 10% increase in muscle thickness and like a 15 or 20% increase in other strength measures too. So I mean, there was some huge benefits in such a short period of time.
So more fat loss and more lean muscle building. So
Yeah, you look better, you're stronger.
yeah, you
And
build lean muscle mass, and yeah, you lose fat. So could you say perfect world?
yeah, it's fantastic. I don't
Right.
see.
Right. Okay, let's switch gears here. And if that, hopefully that came full circle, because I didn't expect to land in that spot with you, kind of walking through that as we talked, the topics that we're going to go over today. Last thing we want to go over today is just an amazing, I keep saying these words like amazing and transformational and just but the challenge was all of that. And so we're just going to run down a list of results and things that people had feedback from. And now we're talking about people that were engaged on every training and every post, used all the resources. But then we're also talking to people that just kind of dipped their toe in the water or hung out, up against the wall, like at the junior high dance, back in the day, where they didn't really want to participate, but they were just kind of hanging out, watching. And these results.
I want to be here, but I'm scared to say anything.
Yeah. I think she wants to dance with me. I'm not really sure. So like kind of trying it out, but even these people are included in these results. So Tom, if you want to start.
Yeah. And again, this was the very first challenge, and it was, there were some technical issues that we were working through as it was our very first one. Well, no, I'm painting a picture here because some of the results were just awesome. And it was definitely not ideal conditions. People weren't exactly sure when to tune in for the next update. Right. And, because we worked on a new process for all that kind of stuff for the next one.
Good point.
But some really cool results. So, here's one. And you had people on different tracks, some people doing 1 meal a day for the first time, some people doing a full 7 days for the first time. So here's one. Good morning. This was great. I felt motivated and supported, lost 5 pounds on OMAD, 1 meal a day during the challenge, even though I've been out of the country twice. Skin looks great. And, I want to know more about more meal planning during the fast and for her 1 meal a day. So that's just one. Let's go to the next one.
That's awesome. So here's one. So I did good, not stopping. So lost 10.3 pounds in 7 days. Now people are thinking, wow, she must have done 7 days. Well, no, she did 1 meal a day. So she ate dinner or lunch once a day, depending on what her schedule was. So 1 meal a day. She lost 10.3 pounds. Just amazing. So, and she even admitted that it was hard to stay in that range every now and then, just because she didn't take into account some more social type things, but she still had amazing success. So she wasn't perfect. She did 1 meal a day with a couple hiccups. And in those 7 days, blood pressure has been in the normal range the entire time. So blood pressure. So we talked about insulin, aldosterone, kidney function, retention of water. Yep. All of those things. Blood pressure came down, normal range, all 7 days. She feels so much better overall. And she said that she hardly had any cravings and did some mineral water and occasional pickle or pickle juice, which was one of your fasting hacks when you're just getting into it. And this was her first time ever doing it. 10.3 pounds, blood pressure normal for 7 days, had a couple of hiccups even, but now she's thinking about going all the way through Lent, which is 40 days of 1 meal a day. This woman's life is just, it's transformed. So I'm just stumbling over words right now. So go ahead.
I can't remember. Yeah. I can't remember what her longest fast was before the challenge. Do you remember?
Never, none, zero.
Oh, none. Okay.
So 1 meal a day was like, she was starting 1 meal a day, like
just going from 3 meals to 1.
Yeah.
Or
3 meals plus snacks and shakes and all that stuff. I'm sure we don't really know that for sure. So that's a little hearsay, but just awesome.
Another one, as of this morning, down 4.2 pounds, did a week of OMAD and planning on continuing OMAD this week. Seemed hard for a few days, but much better by day 5 or 6. And so I think this was her first time doing OMAD as well. And
awesome. Another one here. We're just gonna keep mowing through these. 7 pounds in 7 days. She did 1 meal a day. Admitted she had some challenges. Took a break on Sunday, but back on track doing the 24-hour fast. So never fasted before. I don't know if that's 100% true. may have fasted before, never did one meal a day consistently, but increased energy, 7 pounds in a week. And I think I remember another one of her posts previously, which I don't have up in front of me, but where she mentioned like clothes are fitting differently and she just felt so much better.
Yeah. Here's another one right underneath that. As of this morning, I'm down 6.6 pounds. I did a 3-1-3. So that was 72 hours. And then a day off and then another 72 hours. That day off was basically an 8-hour eating window, I believe. And then back to a 72-hour fast. Was sick all week with a cold and strep on antibiotics, prednisone. And
so not
still,
ideal conditions, but still.
No, very far away from ideal. I'm within 10 pounds of my goal weight and looking forward to another challenge when I'm not sick. So, I mean, she can taste victory coming up pretty soon here.
10 pounds of her goal weight, man. That's amazing. So another one here as of this morning, down 4.4 pounds. And this was someone who kind of jumped in late. So flat for a few days, but doing my best. So yeah, this person's doing amazing. Like they're down 4.5 pounds and all they did was structure their week to know when they were going to eat. So talk about simple and control, right?
You're right. And I don't think he had ever done any of this before. I don't think he had done any OMAD, maybe just a shortened eating window, or maybe he hadn't done any of it. But yeah, just mapping out a simple plan for the week where he said, okay, I'm going to do one meal a day for the next 7 days. And he has a lot of momentum and, just a big win over the week. It's fantastic.
Another woman here did 60 minutes of a high intensity workout. So it was more of like a boot camp class at a gym, and did it on day 4 of her fast and felt amazing. She's like, I can't believe how much energy I have. I feel so much better. So 60-minute high intensity fast. I'm assuming she's more experienced with it, but yes, the myth that you can't work out when you're fasted is not true. If you're at 4% body fat, or if you are, really kind of in the bodybuilding world or high intensity fitness world, high level performance world, that's different. But she did 60 minutes. I was like, man, maybe not start with 60. But she said, no, I got this, and she felt amazing. Yeah. So I was being cautious, and she was like, nope, got it, feel great, done.
Sure,
man, so cool.
And that's what it's all about. I mean, you do listen to your body. Do how you feel, like react to how you feel.
And you absolutely can do it.
Yeah. Here's the next one. I'm on the 7-day fast. And then, so this person even had a what they called a slip up, which was great because they posted about it and said, hey, I was really stressed and I had a plumbing issue in my house. And I was kind of handling it all by myself. So I had a little slip up. I had, I believe she probably had like 300 or 400 calories because she was in the middle of a 7-day fast. But then the win was that for the first time, she jumped right back in and she got right back onto her 7-day fast. She didn't say, oh, okay, well, I guess that's a slip up. I'm going to stop the fast. She got right back into it. So she still fasted 97% of the time during the week, and she had a huge win and she felt great. And that's part of the mastery part of this integration into your life. Life is not perfect, and your fasts aren't always going to be perfect either, but rolling with the punches is a huge part of this.
It's amazing. Last one for me will be the sleep. When I discussed my issues with sleep, you had some stories about it as well. When we did a big training on sleep, one of the days, I don't remember what day it was, but a couple of the comments there was like, wow, I didn't realize that what I was doing wasn't normal. Like you, Dr. Scott, or like you, Tommy, I didn't realize that this was contributing to my problem, and my doctor never told me about this, or I didn't know that sleep could have an effect on insulin. And so all of these different things, just that one training, we got so much feedback for. And we did a lot of what we talked about in the training based off of the response that we got from the podcast last week. So, just another testimony of, it's making sense. You're giving us control. Thank you for sharing the info. And like, I didn't realize that what I was doing wasn't normal. So now she's already put things into place to improve her sleep, which is only going to help long-term health. So just amazing.
Yeah. That's exactly why we try to dig as deep as possible. We've been through it. We've made all the mistakes in the past. We have the t-shirts and all the magnets and evidence to prove it. And we're trying to go back and kind of paint a picture for everybody and show you guys exactly what we did wrong, because a lot of you are doing some of the same things and maybe haven't realized it yet, that there's a way to change it and to do better. And that's exactly what we want to do. And we got so much of that feedback from the challenge. It's awesome.
That's so great, man. So yeah, we're going to be doing more. So here's what we're going to do at this point. So go and just put a new welcome video up to our Fasting for Life page. So it is at The Fasting for Life on Facebook. We're working on getting IG up and running. It's a whole nother beast, but we are in process of doing that. Mm-hmm. And then once again,
we're there, so you can follow us.
Yep, we are there. Yep, Fasting for Life on Instagram as well. And then the podcast. So go ahead. Once again, we talked about earlier on this new idea of continuing the conversation. We want everyone to drop a 5-star review and then post your questions with the review. We'll gather them all up, and then we will just do a podcast of questions or kind of trickle them in as we do the episodes, and continue to roll out the week to week. And hopefully we'll have enough to make a whole episode of it. If not, I'm sure we'll get some great questions.
Yeah. If not, we'll keep answering them over time.
Awesome. So, Tommy, anything else before we wrap this up? Episode 8 is in the books. I'm feeling good. I'm loving the momentum from the challenge. And you guys just stay tuned. We have some amazing stuff coming.
Yeah, we do. We're working on some really cool stuff, and we will make sure to let you guys know, tell you on the podcast, and yeah, we'll let you know when it's ready. We're excited.
All right, let's do it. You have a good day. Thank you.
You too. Bye.
Bye.
So you've heard today's episode, and you may be wondering, where do I start? Head on over to thefastingforlife.com and sign up for our newsletter, where you'll receive fasting tips and strategies to maximize results and fit fasting into your day-to-day life.
While you're there, download your free Fast Start guide to get started today. Don't forget to subscribe on iTunes, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. Make sure to leave us a 5-star review, and we'll be back next week with another episode of Fasting for Life.